Hello and good evening. Was that long enough, Andy?
It was, thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to the Flooring Models Thursday night live show. Here we are with you on the 1st of July 2021. We hope you're all doing very well. Sorry, Andy was on the phone then, so I was trying to string it out as long as I could. But I wasn't sure if he was off because I was watching the stream.
It was only a doctor trying to persuade me to go to hospital and saying, no, I'll be right, I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah, is it one of those where you said you need to come in right now? Well, I'm doing a show, so
Yeah,
I'm in at about 9:30.
A bit like that, yeah.
Oh, mate, if you need to go, go. We can cope.
I'm fine. No, I said I'll contact my doctor tomorrow.
Oh, right then. Fair enough. God. Oh, we'll get murdered for this. Anyway, good evening, everybody. We trust you all doing very well. First of all, thank you very much for last night. We had a lot of fun. Obviously, you guys were very, very generous, obviously, with the charity type things. I will say, obviously, some of you have gone over for the for making payment on the charity. I am acutely aware there's a massive fee if you're doing IBAN payments and stuff like that. I am waiting to hear back from Kareen to see if there's another way we can do it, i.e. PayPal, or we'll band together, take one payment and put across. But honestly, don't send it to me, because otherwise it gets really, really sticky with VAT and tax and all stuff, because it comes into the company and going to get it out. So we're just bear with us, we'll sort it out and make payments. But massive thank you to everybody who was bidding, just generally, but obviously on the auctions that we did for the charity side of things, it was amazing. So obviously you raised 650 quid just off the bat like that, and then obviously for all the other bits and pieces, it was a very fun night. Although I have lost my sound and sound effects man, who got a bit carried away tonight. He has made it back, I take it. Is he back in Doncaster now?
Yeah, he's made it back. I'm surprised he's not on tonight. He's obviously slacking and...
Well, he's going to be house hunting, isn't he? That's the thing. He's got better things to do at the moment.
Yeah.
So, bless him. Anyway, all good. How you doing? Anyway, Andy, was it nice and peaceful for a couple of days?
It was actually, yeah. I've done all the invoicing apart from a couple of the foreign ones. I did invoice one of the guys in America until I realised he was actually in America, and I was only charging him local postage. So I've cancelled that one, and I've said I'll redo it again tomorrow. I've got a couple more to do in the foreign lands to do tomorrow. But yeah, everyone else has done, and most have paid. So thank you very much. And we'll be on with them tomorrow, and hopefully get the majority of them out and done. My lad's coming up with me again tomorrow to help get more packed up. So.
Very nice.
We should be on with it and get it all sorted.
Fantastic. Good job. And Nathan, how are you? How's things?
I'm all right. I'm good. Yeah. Been busy with little bits and pieces while I've been waiting for the Africa group build to start.
Mm-hmm. With
I've
bated
done a
breath.
little 109 that's making progress, and I've treated myself to a Tamiya kit. So I'm doing a New Zealand Corsair as well.
Very nice.
Tinkering in 72 scale, it's the future.
Absolutely, yes, I totally agree. I wish I could get near that. And John, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, deckling the old sabre dog now, and nearly thrown it out the window this afternoon.
Don't do it now. Not after all this work you've been putting into this one. This is definitely the one you don't want to do that to.
It's definitely fighting all the way, but yeah, nice thin decals, except they curl up like anything, just looking at them. And as I said before, the two on the big numbering on the side just went into a little ball. But after about 45 minutes with my magnifiers on and a couple of tweezers,
yeah,
I managed to get it back into some sort of shape. It doesn't look too bad if you don't look too closely at it, but get some weathering on it, it'll be fine.
It will. Again, that's the thing, because to be honest, like the ICM decals for this, they're really, really thin, which it's double-edged sword, isn't it? Very, very thin means they conform and go down beautifully, but if they fold up, it's a right sod to try and peel them apart. And I had the trouble on this with the Y on Army. Just that, folded in half. I said to John, it took me, I reckon it was 15 minutes. Same thing, lots of water. You don't want it drying out because and praying to God it doesn't tear. So, with like literally, but you're doing sort of, round ones as well into a ball. That's even worse. I've done it where I've put it down in a puddle of water. You've got soft brushes trying to peel it apart, It's like, oh, God. So in some ways you want to be a little bit thicker so they'll just hold flat.
Can I just quickly say that they mentioned about again in the chat about my birthday yesterday. Thank you very much. Now on the Cobra beer.
Yeah, we were just saying before we came on air, it's the first time I've ever seen anybody in my life drink Cobra beer without having a curry.
That's a curry.
I didn't even realise it was available not to have it with a curry. I thought it was some type of law.
Yeah. So, again, thank you, Tom, for the beers. And even the doctor I've just been speaking to, when I spoke to her, one of the first things she said to me was "Happy belated birthday."
Oh, look at that! Wow.
I thought, well, blimey.
Bless. Definitely. All good job. Anyway, we trust everybody's doing well in live chat. As I say, you all seem to down in there. Like, where's it from? Cobra beer is from India. Although it's probably not. It's brewed in, I don't know, South Wales or something.
Mark says Tesco's.
Tesco's, yeah, that's it. But, yes, I don't know. Where does it say where it's brewed from in there? Does it just say in the UK? Or does it give a specific area? But I bet it's UK, isn't it?
I'm going to guess Leicester.
Leicester? Yeah, where in the UK do you reckon they brew that? But apparently it's an Indian beer. It's a bit like Foster's being Australian, isn't it? But in Australia, if you said Foster, they ain't got a clue. Never heard of it. It's actually quite nice. It is nice with a certain meal and stuff. So
yeah,
Burton.
In the
Burton. There you go.
Trent.
The Burton, is it?
So they're saying, yeah. So yeah,
Google it.
Very nice. Everyone's now Googling that.
I'm sure it says Ireland on it, ROI.
Oh, is it? Oh, never mind.
Yes, Ireland, that's brewed.
Ireland?
Was it? They can pronounce Leicestershire, but why not Worcestershire? Worcestershire.
It says here, Cobra beer was originally brewed in Bangalore.
Right.
There you go.
To be fair, I was in the Worcestershire and Sherwood Foresters, and I still struggle saying Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. I always do. I probably put in an S and a T where there shouldn't be one. Worcestershire, like the sauce. Worcestershire sauce.
Keith called it right. Burton upon Trent, which has got the perfect water for beer.
Ah, is that what it is? It's the local spring water, is it?
Yeah.
Tony says water from the River Trent, which is our local river through Nottingham. So,
Christ, can you imagine that? What that's like, really? Do you notice there's no fish or living animals that have been in it for the last 100 years? Is a clue. Anyway, everyone's doing very well, as you can probably see, which you can't actually. We had a review go up today, which Andy has now got back. Have you got it back? Is he giving it to you?
No, tomorrow. I've not seen him today.
Oh, right. Okay, but we got the review of the Tempest went up. Again, we spoke about it a bit on the show yesterday and everything as well. But again, it looks absolutely fantastic. Gorgeous kit. Very nice. Obviously, it is the Edard one. So it goes along with the Mark V. Yeah, don't start us on that clue. But anyway, we did do a little bit of a thing with the wings and that. And for some reason, it does look like it's slightly finer detail, although I can't work out how.
Apparently, one of the guys did mention it. It was the Mark numbers that they would do in design stage.
Yes.
Just that the Mark V came out as an aircraft in production faster than the Mark II did. So I think probably the engine availabilities or something, but yeah.
And you have to try and spot the edit, because I said it correctly first when I was doing this, because I had the man opposite me and I'm doing it and I go down and say, and obviously that's Indian markings, and he goes Irish. So I goes, or Irish. So anyway, his Irish markings were very nice. I seamlessly edit that out completely from that one, so it's just got mine.
I've watched it. I didn't even notice.
I know it was clever how I did it, actually. It took a little bit of jigging around to get that complete section out, but we managed to do it. But anyway, it is a lovely kit. It is available in the PM store as well. The guys over there have got it in stock as well. So again, the detail, the fineness in the actual riveting detail, I reckon that's clearly about as far as you can go. Very, very.
Yeah, James said it was the engine availability on the Tempest that obviously made the 5 come out before the 2.
Didn't they have trouble with fires and engine starting, didn't they, on the... What was it called? The engine that the other one's got?
I
can't remember.
It's a famous one, isn't it?
It's a very famous engine that none of us can remember.
Sabre, is it? Sabre.
Is it the Sabre?
Or was that the Sabre?
No, I think you're right. I think it was the Sabre, wasn't it? Sabre. Napier Sabre. Yeah, it's the Napier. I know it's a Napier, which is probably the wrong way to do it. It's like saying Rolls Royce, isn't it?
There's a centrist one that's in that then.
Yeah, because didn't it used to have trouble catching fire a lot when they started it up?
Not good, is
That's
it?
why they
Yeah.
generally stood there with a fire extinguisher and do not harness yourself in until it's properly running. So you can get out if needed.
We've seen the size of them though.
Oh yeah, well they're trying to put one back together, aren't they?
Yeah.
Back to airworthy,
Yeah.
and the engine was at Riyadh in the tent or wherever.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what it was when we went to Dax, wasn't it? It was there.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a massive lump. It amazes me to this day how things with engines that big and heavy, you know, the amount of power that they'd have to do. So yes, definitely very interesting aircraft though, definitely both of them clearly, and as I say, very nice to see those ones available now. So that one is in. Obviously this arrived. There is a bit of a story to this and all the rest of it. I think Airfix have done it to placate me for all the years of giving them crap, if we're honest, about why you're never going to do one. So I did know it was sort of coming anyway, but honestly, I did think I'd been pushed back because of the limited numbers that have come in the country. But anyway, somebody must like me at Airfix, which is amazing. So I have done the review. You see, it's all up here, but I haven't put it up yet, so I'd already had this one up. And this thing didn't arrive until 10 o'clock this morning. So as you can see, there's the review. I have done the review of it and it is all there, but it won't go live till tomorrow because I just like to keep you all hanging in suspense and all the rest of it with that particular one. So that is up there.
Can I ask you one question? When you say it's all there, does that mean you've got no short shots?
Do you know what? And I do say it as well. This must be the first Airfix kit I've had with no short shots either. No dodgy lins, nothing that's wrong with it, no parts missing. So yes, that's it. So, but it does look, to be honest, really, really nice. You say, see the full review tomorrow. I'm impressed with it. It's a big old lump, but also the great thing is, it's got the chinky plastic.
Ooh.
So you know we were saying about with Pranjit last week, he was saying there's no difference and you can't tell. That one's in the harder plastic. So,
Wow.
and it looks
it
more
say-
polished as well. If you see it, catch it in the light, it's more of a polished one.
Is it going to bump its way up to the top of the build, Fred?
Well, yeah, because I have, honestly, because I have been giving them so much rubbish, I'm going to do them as a little bit of a favour, as we said. I talk about it in the review, but basically I'm going to build this one as a sort of ongoing build, which will be public as well. So it will be out to anybody who wants to see this one. It won't be just a members build, because I'm doing other stuff for obviously you guys. So that's going to be something on top as and when I can do it, as we make our way through as well. As a bit of a thank you for them actually doing it after me badgering them for 15 years it's taken. So definitely, but it does look, say, spoiler alert, you know, again, it is what it is. I think Airfix actually have taken a next level up because the plastic looks really, really nice. It's very, very sharp, and to be honest, when I've seen other versions of this, like Pranjits and things, as I say, I thought the panel lining was going to be a bit heavier. Typical sort of Airfix, really, but that looks quite fine and seems to be sort of around about right for scale. So nice. We will see. We'll see how it builds up and all the rest of it. Obviously, it will be totally impartial because even though I did get given it by them, you know me, I'll let you know what it's like, all the good, bad, and the uglies. So we'll go from there.
But from my point of view, working in the model side of the bit company, they've gone down in my point of view.
I know we've spoken about this as well, and I agree in a lot of ways because of. But don't forget, that's not them. I think that comes up from high.
Yeah.
You know. As I say, honestly, with those problems they've got with distribution and sales and things like that, honestly, I think that comes from the group, the board up above them, not so much Airfix and the individual companies underneath. So yes. Anyway, it does look very, very nice. So the other big thing, of course, is that the Swinging 60s group build ended yesterday. I did close it at midday today as well, so obviously it has been locked. You can't post on it. I know there was a little bit of a thing where somebody was saying about, oh, I can't post on the thread and all the rest of it. We've always done it since the day we started. I lock it so it stops people adding stuff in, because obviously there is an end date, and then what happens is I will go through, review everybody's builds to make sure they qualify. As I say, I'm going to be a lot harder this year about the actual build threads. So if you were fancy popping in and padding a few out, because some of them I can guarantee will not qualify for a medal, because I said before it has to be a full build. You can't just do 1, 2, miss a few and that's it. Okay, so there will be that. So last chance, because over the weekend I will go through, review all the ones that qualify. Then will go on to have obviously the end video, and obviously you'll get the medal or whatever else we do, along with all the sort of pats on the back and everything that goes along with it. So there's that one. I did finish. She is done. Hand painted Cobra. But to be honest with you, you all lot are still maybe 3 or 4 video parts away from this. There's the next part of this comes up tomorrow, which is to do with all the paintwork doing the full camo, sharpening it up, and then post-weathering it, airbrushing it wise. Then we've got full job with weathering going on with it. Then we've got full job where I actually hand paint in the shark's mouth, which is done with post pens. They are the future.
Just in chat, I don't know what they're talking about, but Dirk mentioned that Hucknall Rolls-Royce plant did the first conversions. I don't know what they're talking about, but Hucknall Rolls-Royce plant's only stone through down the road from where I live.
Nice.
In my neck of the woods.
Yes.
Been past it many times, not that it does much nowadays.
No, not nowadays, I would have thought. But yes, anyway, it will be electric soon. How many more years until everything has to be electric?
What planes?
There's not many.
Well, they're doing that already, aren't they? They're playing with electric planes at the moment.
Yeah.
So, yes.
What do you do when you run out of battery, though?
I don't know, either big solar panels on them or solar sails behind them that keep going.
Oh, talking about Spitfire Mark 9.
Oh, right, okay. Fair enough. That'll be it then. So anyway, that's pretty good. Let's have a look to see what caught our eye this week from the team and all of us. Okay, first up we have... we've got here from Toby, has done a very nice Revel 48 scale Tornado F3 from Lucas in 2002-ish.
Yeah.
And Nathan
Nice.
was off the ball this morning doing these.
Yeah.
On the ball, rather.
Yeah.
It's
Can't beat
nice
an
how he's done
F3.
the drop tanks in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool, that, isn't it?
Are they what they call the Hindenburg
Yeah, I do like
tanks?
the
Are they the
F3.
big ones or are they the medium ones?
They're the Ickle ones.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it does look cool like that, doesn't it? It contrasts with the grey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It breaks up the grey, doesn't it? With the black tail and then obviously with the tanks on it, it really sort of gives you your eye to move around.
Yeah. A lot of people do it the other way around, don't they? When they do the desert one and they do the grey tanks on them. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
Photography's stunning, isn't it?
it is.
yeah.
Back to front focus, the lot. Look at that. Straight out of a magazine, that.
Mm.
There's a lovely build there. I like the weather in the panel lines.
Yes.
Lovely.
And again, it just goes to show that, you know, everyone says about, boring grey jets. The panel lines have really worked with that because it just gives you all the details that, you know, the aircraft makes up the aircraft, you know?
Does, doesn't it? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Still not done the F3 kit, you know.
I must admit, I do fancy doing an F3. I haven't done an F3 since the Hobby Boss days, and that still puts shivers down my spine.
I keep getting tempted to get an F3. That's my favourite version of the Tornado.
We've got some nice markings, nice tail, special tail ones.
Yeah, yeah.
That's nice, isn't it?
Gone but not forgotten.
Yeah. Me and Nathan went to go and see the final flights, didn't we, Nathan?
We did, yeah.
Oh, I got in there and Nathan
Yeah,
perimeter defence.
it's lovely job made that.
We weren't expecting about 10 million people to turn up to the museum to go watch them. Yeah.
Yeah, surprised how popular it was.
Yeah.
The story with the tanks is the GRs basically nicked the F3 tanks to get extra range.
Yeah.
Because the F3 is just bimbled about over Saudi Arabia to make sure nobody had any thoughts about.
Yeah.
Nice build that. Again, it shows the kit off nicely because the panel line detail is nice on that kit.
Yeah.
Nice cockpit. Very good.
It is, isn't it?
You
It's
need
like
to see
lovely
that
clean
one.
photos. Really nice to have a proper good look around the model. So
Yeah.
John, there's none flying anymore. No,
No, British
no
one.
RF ones anyway.
You can see that on the Tornado SIG table.
Yeah. Took them all out of service.
worldwide there's none flying either. There's none down in Saudi or anything.
Don't you?
F3s. Do you know what? I'm not sure about the Saudis. I don't think their F3s are flying. I'm not sure though.
Yeah,
What,
because
Jim?
They
it's
sent them
own,
all back. They sent
Yeah.
them all back to us. I mean, they'd have put
Okay,
them
because
back.
Germany never had any F3s, did they?
No, it's just us, the Italians and the Saudis.
yeah.
I'm going to take a guess that the Saudis sent them all back.
Yeah, Jamie says there's none over there.
No,
Right, that's it. Yeah, they've all gone.
Yeah, shame.
it is. Well, look, there you go. Jamie's biased anyway. Jamie, how many hours have you sat in one of these things?
You.
That's it. He's done far too many hours bimbling around in these, around the North Sea. So yes, very nice though. Good job on that one. Good photos. Lovely plane. Really nice idea with the tanks and things like that. So yeah, what's not to love? Good job on that one.
500
Fantastic.
hours. 500 hours is done.
500 hours, bless.
Wow. Oh,
Crikey. Right, okay, next up we have, this is the 48 scale Kinetic and this was Vincent. Done a nice job on this one. Here's the original before you think that's amazing.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, that is amazing.
Very nice job.
Unique presentation, isn't it?
Yeah.
With one wing off and stuff. Nice.
Very nice indeed, with all the detail. I take it this is an aftermarket resin set. Is this like the what do they call them? Somebody did a resin set, didn't they? Conversion. But I didn't know if it would go in the kinetic one. It was for the Hasegawa kit, I'm sure. Because it had that panel and the top one and all the rest of it. Don't know. I'll pop up and have a look at it at the moment and see which one it is. But yeah, I don't know if he scratch built that or if it's the resin conversion. Black Dog, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that the do Black Dog do one for that kit, or is he shoehorned it into the Hasegawa kit? And if it is, that's a really good job. So fantastic. Very nice. Nice to see it there as well. Cool. Very nice. Okay, next up we've got a real classic.
Yeah. See, you have to double take this one because it's an horrible old kit.
Yes. So what we've got here is the very classic, as he does point out, which I'm glad he put this on because, you know, it was like 1969 tooling of the 72nd Gloucester Meteor, the F3.
So when I first saw it, I thought it was the new 48th one.
Yes. Do you know what? I'm right with you on that. I thought it was as well. So it was like, yeah, done a fantastic job on that because that kit must be horrible, let's face it. I've never built it. But also it looks like a 48 scale kit.
Yeah.
Right up to modern day standards of build, that, isn't it? You wouldn't know if you put that on a table, you would not know it's that old.
No, no way. I can honestly say, if I saw that on a table, there's no way for a minute I think that was the old FX one.
Not in a million years.
No.
So that is a serious kudos to that build. Because that's a lot of work to get it looking like that. Got to be in there. Proper modelling that.
Goes to show you shouldn't just dismiss the old kits if you put a bit of effort into them.
Absolutely. No, quite right, John. I agree. Yeah, it does go to show that you say most people wouldn't even look at that kit. Even if it was for sale on a store or something and it was up for a £5, you just wouldn't look at it, would you? You'd think it's unbuildable and it's just crap. But it just goes to show a bit of time and effort, a bit of patience. Fantastic paint job. You know, nice weathering.
Shows its age in the wheel wells, doesn't it? But apart from that,
what, you mean there's nothing in it?
You're not going to see them.
But yeah, no one sees them. But no, I have to say, you know, when I first saw this one, it was one of those ones. I saw it a couple of days ago, and I honestly, I saw the box and didn't twig. That's the one, if you know what I mean. So, but good job on that one, Jordan. Absolutely fantastic job. Really, really nice.
Epic build.
Okay, Nigel, been busy. This is the Cyber Hobbies 32nd BF 109E 7 drop. Nape, you have to talk us through this. I know nothing about them.
you can't go wrong with the 109 though, can you?
I might be wrong. I think other people might interject, but I've heard that's the best kit in the scale.
Right.
But it's like getting hold of it's tough. But I just like the camo scheme, and when it's a classic camo scheme that you see in books all the time, because there's a colour picture of it. But I think the way the green has been done is really well done. Nice weathering.
Yeah.
And the engine detail, I know sometimes it breaks the lines up, but I think on this one you get away with it. Nice to see the engine and the guns. It's a lovely job, isn't it?
Very, very nice.
Nicely weathered too.
Yeah. Good job. Very nice. And again, great photos as well.
Yeah.
Nice, clean, close-up photos.
Because Nigel's on a 109 sort of mission this year, isn't he? He's building loads of them.
We did Spitfire last year.
It was, yeah.
We sure about the wheel well colour? I'm playing.
I thought it was canvas, wasn't it, on the inside of the wheel wells? So.
Yeah, it had canvas strips on it. I don't know what colour it's supposed to be in there.
It's obviously sand coloured from all the sand blowing up.
It's really nice build.
Very, very nice. Good job on that one. Like that one. We like it a lot. Well done, Nigel. Okay, next up we have David, and he's done the Samba bus, 24th scale, but he's done something a little bit funky with it.
He's done a good job on this. Well, I've been watching the build threads he's been doing it. It's.
I didn't want to pick out too many of the 60s ones because I thought that's maybe one for a Friday show to go through the group build properly, but I think this one deserves a special mention because this one fits the brief and then some.
Absolutely.
And it is the 60s group build.
I was going to say, so bear in mind, you're seeing that. Trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. Look at that. We've got the kettle, we've got the compressor, we've got the airbrush, we've got the pizza, we've got bottles of wash, clearly. There we go.
Tim did all the album art, so you can't see the albums, can you? But he did all the album art and on the albums that's underneath there, so I did all them, and it's fantastic job.
A giant 1p piece.
yeah, that's it.
I just think
there's the albums.
I like the way that
New
the
roll.
brief, that it's just the level of work that's gone into this is just on another level.
Absolutely. Very, very clever.
Get that entered in the Nationals in Vegas.
That's in a couple of weeks' time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
It's one of those that every time you look at it, you see something new, don't you? You know?
All the bits.
Yeah. You can almost smell the weed.
Yeah, it's got that sweet smell.
The bongs on the thing there.
Yeah, that must be an interesting thing with that, and obviously fumes from all your paints and that.
I just think when you set a challenge like do a 1960s build, and then this, you end up with this. I think that is what group builds are about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really sort of pushing the boat out. The paintwork on the outside is wicked.
Yeah.
I might paint my Fiat 500 to look like that.
I think you should.
What, your real one?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, do the real one, yeah. Don't think Andrew will let him.
no, maybe not. It wouldn't get in it if I did.
Yeah, is that our tour bus then?
Oh, 45 Fab cracking.
It's amazing.
Yeah, really, really good.
Good luck
absolutely
topping that with the
fantastic.
Africa. Yeah, what are you going to do for the Africa one to top that?
Yeah, I was going to say that's the trouble. But no, like seriously, often we talk about, the point of the group builds and why we do them and, and stuff like that. But Davey's just nailed that totally. It's a fun build to follow. It's a great build to actually see it come to life. And obviously the thought process and everything that's gone through that one as well is absolutely fantastic. And again, it's that thing of thinking outside the box, and then some, so... Great job on that one. Well done, David. Great job. Okay.
Everything that's scratch built inside is from the 60s. So.
Period. Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
period. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. Right. Okay. Next up, we have a very nice. Which one's this? This is the Ferrari 268 Le Mans in 143 scale from Christian.
Rinky dinky tiny little thing.
Tiny. Doesn't look it though. Again though, does it? There's spokes on the wheels.
I know. Paintwork's stunning, and the finish is first rate.
Very, very good.
The 143 is tiny.
Yeah, it's sort of. Yeah.
But again, the deepness of the red, the markings and everything else like that, and obviously with the wheels and everything, you just wouldn't know the scale.
No, there's a paint pot next to it. I think it would fit really comfortably in the palm of your hand, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Here we go, 1962, fantastic. You do, actually, there you go. Christian, do another shot with the paint pot next to it, because it's deserving, or a lighter or something, the usual scale items, because it needs it just to give it a real, sense of, wow, that is good. It's good anyway, but you need that sense. We do die cast and that things in this household, so we understand that scale, but definitely. So well done. Beautiful work on that right the way through. So well done, everybody.
Yeah, signed by the driver. How
Absolutely. Cool. Very, very nice. Good job all round. Right, we still all good in there? Very good.
Yeah.
There you go. Slightly bigger than Matchbox cars.
Yeah. So I was going to say Matchbox. It's.
Yeah. It is.
Cool.
Just, very, very good job. Well done, everybody, on that one. Right, okay, so we've got quite a few questions, so I better find them. What have I done with them? There we go. We're in there. So obviously some of these are rolled over from last week as well, because obviously we have Pranjit in, so we weren't actually doing questions. So, starting off with, Graham says, hi guys, have you ever had a build going so well that you get near the end and you get nervous about going to ruin it?
Yeah, yeah.
I think we're all guilty of that, isn't it? When it gets near the end.
Yeah.
Generally, I get towards the end and thinking, I want this off my bench now, and
That's because they've been on there a long time normally with you.
yeah. True, yeah. Yeah. I would say I get nervous. I sometimes get nervous starting something if I know it's a good kit. Yeah, before I started it, but not towards the end really. So like, no, I think by the time that's that stage of, I want it off the bench.
Again, I suppose I'm a very, what I would call, as weird as it is, a safe modeler. And again, I think that comes back to doing commission work, because, you know, when you're doing commission work and if you're near the end, if you screw it up, you've got to go a long way back. Either repaint it, respray it, sand it back, cut it back, whatever you're going to do, you've got to do it again. So you always try and do things with a, you know, you can go back a step. So that's why clay wash, you wash it off, oils, things like that, you can wipe them off. Post shading I've never been a fan of, because it's a one-way trip with that, and various things. So in some ways, when you're getting near in the end, you're just putting on the glass work and stuff. I suppose the thing that I'm always wary of, like this was a classic example, is unmasking it and finding out you've fogged the inside of your clear parts, or something's wrong, you know, like, was it, who had the one with all the dust? Andy, that was you, wasn't it? You had all the dust inside the cockpit?
Yeah, that was on that Focke-Wulf 189.
Yeah, and like then you've got to think, God, well, yeah, I'm going to damage it to try and fix that small little error, you know? So what you're going to do, cut the glass work off, try and get in. Andy, I don't know, you dipped yours, didn't it, in water?
I filled it with water, yeah, and washed
Filled
it
it
out
with
with
water.
water. Yeah. But then it ended up with marks on from the water, so I ended up having to get Q-tips in to try and wipe the glass screw. It worked. Somebody even commented on a model show how clear the glass work was. So
it's been polished so many times.
Yeah.
But I think that's always my one, especially if you're doing, like Andy with that, if you're doing bombers and things where it's got a lot of glass work at the front, and perhaps you haven't seen it for a long time, so you've had it masked up from priming onwards, and you haven't seen in there, and you don't know, and it's always that thing of very wariness. And I do it obviously on camera, and I'm almost like, don't want to look, is it? Oh, it's all right. And this was definitely an example of it, because I used obviously quick set glue, because it's a little bit fragile, and I thought PVA glue is just not going to do the work on this. So I ended up like touch and flow, and then, oh God, I hope this is okay. So when I unmasked it and it was all right, it was like, that was more luck than judgment, I think.
I think out of all things though, your glasswork, if you've messed your glasswork up, you can't really come back from it, can you?
No.
Unless you put a tarp over the top of it.
Yeah.
If your decals go wrong, like John's been having problems with decals, you can get another set of decals. If your paintwork goes wrong, you can start rub that bit down and start repaint it. But your glasswork's like, the bit that you can't really do much about it.
No. Yes. John, what about you?
Well, yeah, if you could have heard the language that was coming out the shed this afternoon. But yeah, like you say, it's the canopies in it and masking it. It's that. Is it okay or isn't it?
You can make or break a model, because let's face it, I did it to a Harrier years ago and really ballsed it up, because I unmasked it and the entire front panel of a Harrier was completely fogged, you know. And that's it. What you're going to do, you have to cut it off and get a replacement part. So that's it now for the build. It's stalled, finished, until obviously you've got another one. You can nick one and then get a replacement part for that one. And I ended up having to buy another kit because I needed the part. So yeah, it's sort of one of those, you can't come back. You can't repaint it. You can't get replacement decals or something else like that, you know. So, but I don't think so much at the end, because by the end, let's face it, most of us are just putting on the final touches. So perhaps pitot tubes and lights and stuff like that. Those normally areas don't go wrong. I think it's more things like, you know, problem areas like canopies and stuff. That's why armour's great, isn't it? That's why you need to do armour. Get away from these canopies. Or World War I planes. So
I have had it before where I've just about finished a kit and I thought, right, I'll clean the airbrush out, and the kit's been there, and and the thinners has been over there, and I thought, oh, I'll be fine. I'll get me pipette and just and block.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I have done. You say that, it's just reminding me. Sometimes it's happened a lot more than I would probably admit to. Is that if I'm cleaning the airbrush, just make sure this is clean. But I tend to do, as you've probably seen on there, I put a squirt of thinners in here at the end there, and I do this, and then I flick the brush, and then I look up, and there's a line, and like your model's right in the middle of it, and it's got dots all over it, and you're like, your first thing, isn't it, is to wipe it off. But if you do, you'll end up with like a little bullseye mark in it where you've wiped it off. And the amount of times I've gone like this and gone, and it's like, or I've gone for a little touch up, and as like a lot of you have seen, I've had no cap on, and I've gone like this and gone, okay, yeah, we're in, okay, and then something spat out the top, or I've literally gone like that, and then blump, and it's landed on it, and you're like, Jesus, don't touch it, leave it alone, you know.
I've flicked monkey paint thinners over my kit, like you said, just by model's been here and been cleaning it out, and it's like, oh God.
Yes, it's one of those, it happens so often, you'd think now, after all these years of doing it, I would stop it, but you never remember it. It's one of those.
I even catch myself sometimes, I'm here doing it, and so I think,
yes,
let's move the kit out of the way.
I must admit, I was painting this one, and I was doing, I can't remember what I was doing now, I was doing the rotor head, that was it, in the black, and I didn't have a colour cup on. And I did, and I had it, and it fell off. It came down the actual side of the airbrush and everything, and then dripped onto this. But luckily, it just came on the back here, so I did wipe it off, and we just blew it in. When I was coming around doing touch-ups, we just put another little bit in there and did it that way. So yeah, it wasn't so bad. Managed to dodge the bullet with that. Or as Mark says, you flick it all over yourself. I've done that as well. It's my favourite. Where I'll be in, I'm just going out or something. And this has happened, and I've had a really nice white shirt or a t-shirt on, and I thought, oh God, I haven't cleaned out my airbrush. And I've done that, flicked it, and then the other half said, what have you got down your front? And you're like, oh no. Yes, done that a few times as well. And I did it down a brand new pair of jeans once, and that didn't go down well either. What was that song too? Why don't they go back to the old days where you had framing and clear glass windows separate? What, in homes? I've never seen it on a kit
kind
that
of think
fit
it
the
means
glass.
Some I'm trying to think who did the last one that I saw that did a framed canopy. Doesn't the Tamiya F4 come with a framed canopy that you can put the?
What, the new one?
Yeah, there was. I think there's a kit that's come out or coming out that's got a framed canopy. You can put the glass in separate.
Oh, is it? All right.
I think it is.
Yeah, I always think that gives even less room for error, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
in the canopy then put depends how it goes in.
Not the Tamiya. Is it the
No, not the new F4. I'm trying to think what it was.
No.
Mosquito? Because that is an internal frame.
Yeah, that goes internally into it, my Mosquito, but because it has an internal frame, but you still have an external one that you need to paint as well.
No, I think.
Don't know.
There you go, the guy's saying, but I have to say Greg's done the best one. Oil paint on your jeans and then get in the car. So oil paint all over your seats. That's not good.
I must admit, I've got scruffy jeans that I wear in the garage, and I'll not put my nice jeans on while I'm spraying, because usually when I'm cleaning the airbrush, or I've got super glue on my jeans and all sorts, and my wife would kill me.
I must admit, that's why I normally wear combat jeans and that. I haven't today, I've got my normal jeans on, but when I'm doing it, especially the big side pockets on combat, I stuff it full of paper towel, and I do my brush on it. So you knock off your oils on it and all the rest of it. So yeah, you wouldn't want to sit that in your car, definitely. Anyway, he is saying his Achilles heel is the clear coating, among other things. Right now, I'm at the stage to put on a satin clear coat to seal the decals so I can weather it. Everything has gone a dream on my Tamiya Skyray. Nice kit that is. I'm hesitant to complete it. Clear coats, you're okay, I must admit. I don't really have a problem with the clear coats. I know we've got a question coming up in a minute that would disagree with that totally, but I must admit I don't.
That's why I stick with something
I've been using with acrylic.
I've been using this for decades, and that's why I stick with this, because clear coats are the one stage where you don't want it to go wrong.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I guess I am sort of nervous of it because I use this and reversible weathering products.
Yeah. I like that for flat.
Yeah.
Then use the GX100 for my glosses. And then use a Tamiya XF86, which I know is flat, but I find it comes out more satiny for my satin finish, especially when I use leather thinner with it.
Yeah.
Maybe we do take measures to avoid.
Yeah, subconsciously, we all got these things that we've probably been bitten by before, and now we play safe. Yeah. I don't know. John, what about you? Clear coats and stuff?
No problem with clear coats. I use like Andy, similar, the Guns GX100 or the UV ones I've got.
Yeah.
Tamiya. I think I have got a bottle of the extra acrylic somewhere, the matte. That is quite good stuff, but I just shy away from using the acrylic stuff now.
Yeah. Yeah, I must admit, for me, for doing satin stuff, my go-to is XF86 with leveling thinners in it. You get a nice sort of satin finish, or the satin finish I go with my style of weathering, I should say. So, yes.
The stuff I used to hate and I've got a loathing for is Pledge Future. That is just...
I must admit, I haven't used it for a couple of years now.
Yeah, Nathan's stable, isn't it?
Yeah, Nathan. Dave, when you come down, you can go back with about 10 bottles if you want. I've still got the stuff from the 90s here. I've got, Nate, behind me in that cupboard, I've got 2 brand new unopened bottles of that you're more than welcome to. And they're still clear. They haven't gone yellow.
There's another one over his left shoulder as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few bottles hidden away, and I've got one. Here it is. It's just one of those things, it works, so why mess with it?
Again, I used to have great results with it when I did it, but I've sort of, I don't know, I think there's easier ways if I'm honest. So, but, yes, never mind.
I've got my ways. I'm getting old, aren't I? Stuck in my ways.
But I think what we're saying, to put Graham's mind at rest, is that we all probably subconsciously are worried about ballsing it up near the end, but it depends how you deal with it. And I would say if you are, use the products you trust, use the techniques that you trust that work for you, and that's why you have a buster. So if you want to experiment with something different, perhaps you've seen online or in a magazine or on YouTube where there's a model and he's using a technique, don't try it on your model, try it on a buster, get a feel for it, understand how it works, understand if it goes wrong, how it's gone wrong, and how how you fix it, rather than doing it on your model, because I think that's where things can occur, because people think, I've seen it on telly or I've seen it on YouTube or in a magazine and I'll give it a whirl, it looks easy, and then they end up being frustrated because they just wrecked their model or had to go back and repaint an area or sort something out or anything else like that. So yes. Okay, Peter says, hi, was going to try and post a model build for the first time. I have taken a few photos of the box parts and the start of the build. However, stupid question, don't know where to put it and where to start a build thread. Peter, basically have a look at the forum, have a good look round at it. Am I on the right thing now? We have to go over here, and then obviously if you go to the main sort of areas of it, if you're doing group builds and that, then that's easy. It just goes into a work in progress. So like down in here, we've got the new ones going on at the moment, wherever they are. Here they are. Okay, so that'll just go in these middle ones in the work in progress if you're taking part in any of the group builds or SIGs. And you'll sort of get a feel for it, how it works. Has anyone started one of the new ones yet? It's Palat. Somebody is now going to be on the thing here. So there we go. So Patrick's starting this kit. He's put a picture of the kit up, a couple of photos of exactly how it is, and basically he's outlined it, what he plans to do with the actual build and things like that, and maybe some background information. Perhaps if you've been doing a bit of research and you want to share it with the group, you just post it up in these areas. Okay, once you start your build thread like this, you just keep adding to it. So I take it probably Patrick's only got one part up here. but you never know. Hold on, let's try it. So we've got his aftermarket he's showing down there, all his pictures, what he's using, he's doing the instructions. Patrick gets a gold star for this one, look, that's what we're looking for. Okay, and then obviously people can comment on it. So then they might come in and it may be just good choice type things. It might be somebody who's built the kit before and says, by the way, make sure you do this, this and this just to help you out, which is always dead handy. Okay, and then normally what would happen is you come down in here and you just, where it's like write reply, and then you just carry on the build thread and you go all the way through. It's as simple as that. It really is. It's not a problem. Okay, and then once you finished it, you just do final photos on there, and then you do a reveal thread of it as well. If you are thinking about obviously just general, you know, that's not in a group build, and then we've got work in progress areas, which is we've got model gallery, modeling chat, where is it? I've got to find it myself now. It looks different doing it this way, which is down in here, work in progress. So you got your ones for aircraft, you got your ones for jet aircraft, prop aircraft, helicopters, airliners, classic stuff, dioramas, work in progress for armor. So again, you've got all your armors and you have got different scales in there as well. So you just drop them in there. And then obviously we've got ones down here for sort of maritime, real space, sci-fi and all the rest of it. And obviously normal cars and buses and things, that's all down in there. And you just put them in those categories. So whichever one it is, you drop it in like that and away you go. Once you finish that one, put your final photos with that build and then also go to the gallery section and then post them up in there. And then that way, that's where I grab them for the Friday show, for instance, and things like that. So I'll just come along into here and go air gallery and pick the ones that are finished that week. And we go along and we do the sort of, you know, the Gundam stuff, the transport and all the rest of it, whichever category you're in, and you put your final reveal photos in there. Just remember to pop a link in there back to your group build. And then that back to the build. And then that way people see your photos, can access your information. Simples.
If you do put it in the wrong category, and people will tell you that you put it in the wrong category, or if you know that you put it in the wrong category, if you contact one of us.
Yeah, we'll move it for you.
Yeah, we might sometimes we spot it, but other times just give us a nudge and we'll shift it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wrong one. Keep talking. I'm repositioning.
Getting back to the question.
So I'm in the wrong section. I'll try to get back to the questions. There it is.
If you don't know how to contact one of us, Phil could just show you.
Yeah, okay, so if you need to contact one of us, you just simply go to, click on the person's name in the forum like here, click it like there, hopefully, there we go, and then just, you've got email or message, just do message. Click that one, you get a box up here, just like this, and you just do, and that sends a message direct to any of us, okay? So if you obviously click on Andy, you can do Andy, Nathan, or John, or Matt even. Try your luck with Matt.
I will answer Matt anyway.
Yeah, it'll get to Andy anyway, so you'll be fine, okay? And you can literally just do it that way.
So don't stress, you can't break the forum by putting stuff up. It'll be fine.
Yeah, no, everyone's tried, it's still here.
Just have a pop in, and if it's in the wrong place, don't worry about it.
Fantastic. Okay, keeps talking about Quintus Studios and the things and the various things that are coming up in there. So, and he's talking about those things. But the question is, have you used the Ushi leather effects decals or even the wooden effects? They do basically a 12 by 1.25 inch by 4 inch strips. The decals of various scales and colours. You can cut them as you need. I just received a set hoping for tips on how they can form and the best method of applying them. I saw them on a build and they do look realistic. That's why I bought them. Have you used Ushi stuff?
I've got some of the wood effect decals. I've not used them, but to be fair, I think they are nicely thin decals that go down really well. So just use them as a decal. You know, just cut them to the size you want for a panel or whatever you want to do it for and put them down. You know, as a normal decal, I think.
And they're okay with normal decaling setting solutions and things?
I've not heard otherwise. I bought them for an albatross build that I've never started, so I've not used them. I didn't know they did leather ones.
I didn't know they did leather.
No. I must admit, I've never used them.
I've seen things somewhere that says don't use decaling solutions, or is that the Wing Up Wings ones?
Oh, right, okay.
I don't know. Check the instruction. Oh, I don't know where it took me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, man.
I think there's bound to be plenty of builds. I've never used them myself, so I couldn't say.
Yeah, just check what it says on the instructions about decaling solutions. I can't remember.
Yeah.
To what it says.
Yeah.
I must admit, I have seen them, but I haven't. I know some people who did the B17 because there's a lot of woodwork in that. So what a lot of people did, they had their decals in for the wood. But obviously, I just used the oils and streak technique and did it that way. But I must admit, I haven't used it. Well, I didn't realise they did leather. That's a new one on me.
I mean, Games Workshop, Citadel Miniatures, they've got quite a lot of tutorials on doing leather for their miniatures that they work quite well with.
Yeah.
Our hobby. Whatever works on a miniature works on an aircraft, and they use this is not the right one, but they use their like ink wash things and staining and stuff like that. But again, just like we've been saying, cut a little section out on a buster, maybe on the inside of a wing where it'll never be seen, and see how it works.
Yeah,
play with it.
Have a play. Yeah, but as I said before, if you're the first time you're using any product, it's very, very good to try it on something. Just try it on something where if you're using the kit part, if it's internal for wood or leather, then the chance are if it doesn't work, you can take it off and it's not going to ruin anything else, you'll be fine. But if you are not sure, you said, try it on your buster, have a go with it, just understand the product, its strengths, its weaknesses, and I think that's the thing. Once you get a feel for how something works, it's a lot easier when you're doing it on your model. You always get a better effect second time round anyway, didn't you?
You do.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm trying to find it hard to think why you'd use leather though. Because surely, if it's got grain in it, it's going to be that fine on leather, you'll never even see it on a decal.
No.
And I always find leather looks nice if you do a chipping effect and sort of to wear it through, so it's gone through to the whatever colour the top colour of leather is to the natural colour of leather. Yeah, so because not quite often leather's been dyed, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So take the dye off and chip it through into the base colour, but yeah.
Yeah, Krista says here that he's used some of the Yushi wood decals, treat them as decals, and he's used micro set and sole. Just don't forget to have the base colour underneath.
Yeah, you have to use like a sail colour or something, a buff or something underneath it or something to. Yeah.
And John, what are you drinking? The guys think it's vinegar.
Also,
Luscombe hot ginger beer.
Oh.
It's just like, Keith, quite often on RAF aircraft you see that green leather, don't you? And so if you painted it a brown before to start off with, put some hairspray or chipping fluid on it, paint it green, just chip it through on the corners and bits and bobs, so you can see the brown coming through, through the leather and Bob's your uncle.
Cool, very good. Okay, David says, hi Modelling Masters. I'm sure this has been asked before, but I can't remember. Is it okay to use oil washes and oil paints weathering over AK Extreme Metals? I use Abtai low odor thinners with the oils, if that makes a difference. Thanks for any advice. So there's two schools of thought to this. Mine, which is clearly correct, and everybody else's. Okay, so everybody else says that once it's dry and cured solid, you should be fine to go over the top of it. Once it's absolutely gone off and all the rest of it. So you probably want to give it a couple of days because it's enamel-y based, this stuff. That's the trouble with extreme metals, all right? And you will be okay with it. My thing is, like I've said before, I'm very wary about using oils over it because the enamels will soften. I'm not going to say melt because apparently they can't melt, but it will soften the paint, that metal finish. So then if you're doing brushing and that, if you've got like panel lines or you've got raised areas like access patches and things like that, that sometimes you get on aircraft, what it can do is take it off and you end up with just either primer or plastic on the edges and stuff like that, like tops of nuts and bolts and things. So I'm very, very wary about doing it. It's not to say I haven't, because I have, but I don't like doing it because I think it, again, we're back to that question about finishing your model, later stages, I don't want to have to repaint it. So for instance, when we did the B17, and to be honest, when we actually did the TU95, both of those were done with neat oils, and I just sort of buffed them on and everything else, and some light, blending as well, and various things just to give the effects that we were after, which you would probably do by using washes anyway, but in a lot more controlled environment. Don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, as Brian says, there are products available that
That's exactly what I was going to say.
don't get affected.
Well, I didn't like to say clearly, but
I'd use the Flory washes and given what Matt has been saying in the past few days as well. Pencils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pencils. Yeah.
They move around with water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't take the risk. Again, it's that back to the first question.
Matt's been playing around with them.
Yeah.
I'd be very, very wary of using a product that might go wrong, especially at that stage of a build, because, oh god,
Yeah.
it's not worth the risk, is it?
John, what about you?
I've never used the AKs actually, not for a full like aircraft. I've used them on like little metallic areas. I still always tend to use the MRPs, so they're lacquer. They're,
As I say, with the MRPs, it's bulletproof, and then obviously you'll be absolutely fine to use it because you're doing with lacquers, not enamels. So, yeah. Because I know, obviously Matt said it many times. He said you're fine because it once it's gone off, it can't rehydrate. I just worry about it softens it, if nothing else. Or what if it did go wrong? I don't really want to, risk it. So,
I don't think it's worth the risk. But Dirk's got another point again. We've said it before. Try it on a piece of scrap.
Yeah, get your buster going with it. Try it.
Spray it. Leave it a few days like you normally would. Have a go, and then the sod law, it works on the buster, and then you do it on the frame. It just goes deep.
Also, Tim says, and it's a good point, if you've got a clear coat on them first, you will be absolutely fine. So if you just put a lacquer clear coat down or acrylic or anything else like that, as long as it's not enamel, you'll be absolutely fine, and that will protect it. The only thing is, I would not recommend overcoating extreme metals because you lose that luster because you end up with the finish of the clear coat, not the metal. That's the only thing. So, yeah, definitely. But as you say, a clear coat, like we said before, you're going back now really to using pledge or, using clear, because clear was obviously everybody's natural barrier between layers, wasn't it? Back in the day, if you were a modeler in the 70s and 80s and 90s, clear was a very cheap and a very solid barrier between things. So you might, you do your primer work, you do your paint work, clear, coat of clear, decal onto it, coat of clear, weather it, coat of clear. And you just used it as a natural clear coat barrier between all your weathering layers, so it wasn't affecting the one below it. So yes,
we've had a change of beer.
Oh right, okay. So now we've gone to Spain now with San Miguel.
San Miguel, old favourite.
Yeah, where's that brewed? Bristol. Beers of the world, which are all brewed.
Probably the same brewery that.
Yeah, it is. It's probably the same place that the Cobra came out of, to be honest. Beers that sound like they come from around the world, it should say on the box.
What's that? San Miguel.
Premium lager, brewed and bottled in the UK.
There you go. It's about as Spanish as I am then.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm more Spanish than that.
Oh, that's so funny. I went to a brewery in London where they brewed Grolsch and one other that I forget, and it was the same beer, drained the whole lot, and then they tipped a different sack of additives in it to simulate the water for Grolsch and I think Carling.
Yeah.
So they split the beers like 2/3 of the way through the production.
You were.
But San Miguel UK brewery. Here we go. Beers of the world.
So that's nicer than the Cobra.
Northampton.
Northampton, there you go. What's in their water?
Sounds Spanish.
Costa del Northampton.
Yeah, it does. Close enough, eh? Anyway, Doug says, hello team, for my first group build, the Swinging 60s, for my first group build, the Swinging 60s, I bit off more than I could accomplish in the allotted time. I like to finish off the build thread and wonder if it would be possible or if my thread will be locked or moved to an archive. Either way, it's been a fun build and I'm watching all the great creations. I have a plan for an out of Africa build and I will do better on this one. No problem, Doug. Basically what happens is obviously the reveals are locked. Okay, so people can't add stuff into it. That's why we lock it until I get all the details sorted out. The actual build threads are open and you can still put in there, and it'll probably take me a couple of weeks to get them done, and then they will be migrated into the categories we spoke about before. So if it's an aircraft, say it's a propeller aircraft, it will go into the working aircraft propeller section. and everything else. And again, if you ever want to find your own work once it's been moved, the easiest way to do it is to literally, if you click on, and we can do this here, your name here, okay, on this takes you to your page, okay, and then you can go topic started, and it will tell you the ones that you started. So down in here, your swinging 60s one was an F104. There we go. That's nice. So yes, and there's your build thread. So if you wonder why it's disappeared, go there, and then if you look at the top, I know it's a bit small tonight, but you know where I'm going. Up here at the top, underneath your name, that will show you where it is, because that title will change when I move it. So that will probably go into Jet Aircraft 48 scale in the work in progress area, and obviously you can find it in there. That's how you do it. You just click on those things, and that'll take you back.
And all I can say is, Doug, you think you've got problems.
Oh.
Oh, God. That's the 60s.
Hold on. Let me just put you on screen with that. Sorry, wrong one. Where is he? That show us how far Andy got with his 60s group build. God almighty. Is that it?
A bit busy.
How's it going? Is it a good kit, though?
It's all right, actually. Yeah, the glass work's a bit iffy in places, but yeah, generally it's all right. I've just had no time. I mean, honestly,
I would say one job, but he has got quite a few others, if I'm honest. I'll let him off.
Could you turn it into an Africa build? Did anybody
put some zebra stripes on it and you're good to go. Anyway, so yeah, don't worry about it, and obviously it goes for everybody. All your builds will be moved over the next, sometimes if I've got a spare day, but it does take me hours and hours to sift through and make sure they're all going in the right places. And the other thing is with every single one of these that happens, I will put somebody's in the wrong place. Just message me and say it needs to go in such and such, and it takes me 2 seconds to move it to the correct category. But what I tend to do is I look at the title, and then sometimes I am wrong because I don't know everything. So I think it sounds like a helicopter, and it turns out it was a bus. So, and it does happen more often than not, to be honest. Okay, Michael says, hello team, I wanted to ask you what paint you would use to replicate the look of this badge. I was thinking about going with AK True Metal Gold. Oh, True Metal, be careful with that. Or Old Bronze. And then give it a black wash. Oh God, that's the waxy stuff though, isn't it? True Metal. Since I've never used any of the two in anger, only for testing, is there anything I should take into account for use?
Stargate SG1.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I'll go with Mr. Metal Colours.
The buffables.
Yeah.
Yeah, start off with, and then sort of buff it up a bit, and then add a bit of a dark dirt wash to get your
shadowing into it.
Yeah, dull it down a bit. I think wouldn't be far off then.
And again, there's another technique you can do. If you use like a lacquer-based buffable, you can put a little bit of oil wash and use it like a pin wash in, and then just polish the lot. And that oil helps polish the area up and everything. The only trouble you find with it is being a buffable, I take it you're not planning on wearing it, but it will keep coming off forever. That's the trouble with True Metals. True Metals is wax, and it's the gift that keeps giving. So, but I take it you're going to have it as a plaque and everything. And the thing is, the only thing I will say, I used to have a badge on my NASA shuttle base, and it says NASA space shuttle underneath it. Mine wore off over time. It goes, so it now technically needs another coat because it just looks black now. So the buffables, for some reason, they do wear away. But yeah, no, I think probably onto that one.
Yeah, I think that's some.
Let me check my colours. Hold on.
You can leave it quite flat, can't you? You don't have to polish it to a high.
Yeah, you don't have to, no. I was thinking that the dark dirt wash into it and that bit over would dull it down a bit as well, so you get like a bit of shyness and a bit of dullness. And
see, that brass colour, actually, I don't think that's far off of that.
Far off.
That's sorry, we've got terrible. I haven't got the big light on today, but that brass actually isn't that far off that.
Yeah, probably not far off.
I was going to say, which one is that? The Mr. Metal colour?
Yeah, 219.
Yeah, that would be good.
I'd say that's probably that colour.
Because if you open that up, it looks like liquid gold.
Yeah.
That's really good stuff.
Because I tell you, the gold, which is really stupid. Have you got the gold there, John? The gold looks like copper. But this really one looks better colour. It's So yeah, the one you want
Right,
is
gold.
definitely the brass.
Yeah, it looks better than gold, doesn't it?
Yeah, because the gold looks too orangey.
Orange.
Yeah. But that brass looks spot on for that.
And it's a nice, easy paint to work with as well, isn't it? The
Yeah.
buffaloes are lovely.
So personally, I would airbrush it on, so you get a nice smooth finish with it, and then literally give it sort of 10, 15 minutes just to dry, and then nice soft cloth, and just keep going at it.
Yeah.
And then once you're down and you're happy with that, don't overcoat it. Pin wash it, just a little bit of oils, black wash even, something else like that, just down on there, because it will soak into the other thing. But you might find, because of the way that is, you don't even have to, because you're not polishing the writing because it's underneath. It may give you the contrast you're after. Interesting. And if you really want a nice job, get a nice soft brush and buff it, and it'll go like a mirror.
You can get a brush, like a nice. You can get a cheap makeup brush like that.
Sorry, wrong one. Where's Dave? Yeah, something like that. Really, you want a nice soft brush, and you can actually really polish it with it.
And if you go to a chemist or drugstore, depending on where you are in the world, you get the cheapest makeup brush in the shop, that'll be all right. You don't have to spend a fortune. And they're quite good for buffing them up.
So,
You get funny looks.
yes, cool. I think it would look very nice with all that done. Okay, Tim says, Phil, on Tuesday's show, I caught a glimpse of two of your bigger builds hanging from the wall in the studio. Can I ask what they are using to hang them up? From what I saw, they look like guitar or violin hanging brackets. You are correct. Yes, we've done a video on it actually. I was doing it and all the rest of it, but they are just guitar hangers. So the thing is with them, you can vary the what's that bit called on a guitar hanger? I don't know. Neck.
The neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and if you buy them on Amazon, like these ones, it comes as like a pack of 6, and it was really cheap. And to be honest, I got 4 down in here with the B52, the 17, we've got the A10 at the other end now, and all the rest of it, the Bear. But they're ideal. The only thing I would say is the rubber that they're hanging on, they may be a little bit stuck to it. So what would probably be worth doing is the bit where you're going to make contact with the item is to put a little bit of Tamiya tape on your wing so it's on that. But I'm pretty sure that the plastic or the foam or whatever it is, because they've been up there for a while, has reacted a little bit with the lacquers or whatever's on there. Because when I tried to take one off the other day, it was definitely sticky.
I wonder if it's because I have problems with rubbers in my room because of spraying lacquers and things. Yeah, I mean, because I think I told you about the guitar hangers in the first place. Because I've got them in my bedroom because I used to play guitar and hanging guitars.
Yeah.
Used to have, well, I still got some in there. And the ones in my bedroom are perfectly fine. Have I got them? They don't stick to anything.
Yeah.
Even models I've got hanging on them. I've got a B17 hanging off one of them, and I've got a guitar hanging off the other, and they're fine. Yeah.
So it possibly could be. Because we've had it before. We've spoken about, haven't we? Some handles on tools, isn't it?
Yeah.
They
I get that.
you get that sort of peely neck, yeah. And I'm pretty sure it is the lacquers in the atmosphere in the room are attacking it. So, But yeah, if you look on Amazon, just put in guitar hangers, you can get some very posh ones. These, I think, were just Amazon's own one, I think it was, or whatever it is. Quite cheap ones. But
When did you take the rubbery stuff off?
a proper name, but yeah, they are adjustable, the width, which is good, because obviously depending on where they're hanging from, sometimes you need them a lot wider. So like the A10, it's quite wide, but to be honest, the B52 is quite close together. But then on the way the tails are and all the rest of it, how it holds it, you can just do the widths of them. So
and if they'll hold a heavy guitar, they'll hold a model.
And the great thing about it is they're not dust magnets, because I never dust any of these, because they're hanging like that, nothing sticks to it. So it is very good. If you've got unruly models and bombers especially in this scale, then it is definitely a must.
And I've had thousands of pounds worth of guitars hanging from them, and
Still
I'm
on the
not
wall.
worried about them.
They're
Still
there. Okay, Keith says, you use small magnets for detachable parts. I've ordered 2mm by 1mm thick magnetics and thinking of drilling a hole 2mm diameter inside of the fuselage very close to the cockpit canopy, and then fixing the magnets, file a small recess into the clear and fix some PE, some steel PE, some photo etch or very thin metal. The poles are on diameter. Sorry, the poles are on diameter. The poles are on diameter. But I'm hoping that this will work on 2 poles. I'm missing the bit about poles. What do we mean by poles? Oh, well, sorry, I think I'm getting you now. You're on about pegs going down and then a magnet to hold it in place as well. I think I've got you now. Making the canopy detachable to show off the interior work whilst allowing me to use Easy Line for the wires and the canopies for the tailplanes on the Lancaster build. Will it work this way, or am I chasing a dead dog idea? Thinking of using the Tamiya white top to fix the magnets. Use super glue for that, and use X-Acto to exact the microfiller to clean up this alteration. When you're getting very near the clear parts, you need to be careful whatever you're doing. Okay, the only thing you could do is literally you could, again, which size you going for? 2 mil. They do 1 mil by 1 mil. I've got them. I've got a drawer full over there. These things are absolutely tiny, and because they are earth magnets, they are really, really strong little gits, as I call them, and they are great for holding on little things, especially if they're light, into place. The thing is, you're going to do, if you're going to do a canopy like the Lancaster, there's a slight curve for that. You've got to bury that in there. So if you're using like a 1 mil by 1 mil magnet, you could just drill a hole and then sink the magnet into it, and then you could, in theory, on the clear part underneath, put a little bit of something onto that one to do it. My part is, aren't you over complicating it though? Can't you just lift off the part? Because if you look at the 48 scale Lancaster, that's all you do.
What it's saying is yeah, but because you've got the rigging going from the tail to the canopy, it'll have easy line on it. If you just leave it free, it's good.
Yeah, well, it depends how tight you've got it.
Yeah, I suppose so. But to my mind, I logically think in my mind, how many times I'm going to take that canopy off to look inside it? Probably twice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even bother. Just glue it on.
Or if you wanted to, I'm thinking just save the magnet, just drill a hole, like 1 mil in, and put a 1 mil pin.
Yeah.
Onto your canopy, and then it just sits onto it like that. So magnetic parts are okay, but they have their place. But I would worry about messing around with having to glue bits of metal, like photo etch steel or something, onto the edge and then sit it in. Because also, if you're not central to that magnet, it will pull it to one side. Yeah. And also, my only tip will be is obviously make sure you get your north and south poles correct before you put it in, so it's not pushing it off. Because that's happened to me in the past. I did some prop stuff and I super glued the magnet in upside down. So when I went to put it on, it's pushing it off. So yeah, I had to dig that bugger out.
If he's putting the rigging for the area on it as well, elastic rigging, that's surely asking for trouble in the long run, because it's going to break, if you keep taking it on and off, it's going to go eventually.
He says he's doing it to show us guys, but
I'll tell you what.
I think all you got to do is cause one problem with that clear part, and you wreck it.
Yeah, not being funny. If you're if you're putting a piece of metal underneath that clear part, even if it's a little tiny bit of photo etched steel, one is you got to keep it very flat and the same width as the actual model itself. As that canopy, that's a tiny part. You've got to fix it, and you're going to need a proper good glue on that, because if you've got a magnet, it's going to be pulling on it all the time. So I would probably use a CA glue or something that's proper going to be there, or an epoxy or something to hold it in place. And now you're talking mess with that stuff on a clear part.
It doesn't matter how thin a bit of metal you put under the canopy to fix to attach to the magnet. It's just going to create a gap all the way round.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to sand the canopy down to the thickness of the metal, wouldn't you?
So I think you would honestly be better to actually drill a tiny hole, use a 0.4 drill bit into your canopy, which again, I'm not advising doing, but if you could, put a pin in it that's just a tiny bit, and then drill a hole in your thing so you can seat it down and it holds it in place.
I'd take some nice photos of you do it as you're building it. You can see all the interior on your photos.
Yeah.
And you can get, like Ron did, that book.
Yeah, get it printed from an online place.
Yeah, and get it done as a book. So you can have it with your kit, so people can flick through the book and have a look at your build thread and see all the interior on your build in your book. Because I can't remember what Ron did with it. Was it on a?
It was an armor, wasn't it? A tank. It was the interior on a tank. Was it a tiger or a king tiger or something?
Can't remember. It looked really good, didn't it? Professional job in doing in a book with just photos he took. And
see, I've got these magnets here, and I think you've just hit on a point. I mean, you can use a paper clip to still stick, but I think the bond between the magnets is going to be stronger than any glue you'll put on.
Yeah, it will.
So I just think, and with it being a clear part, it goes back to the first question tonight.
Yeah.
You're going to get right. You're going to probably end up having to buy another canopy. But I would, if I was going to do it, I'd do the one magnet, and then I'd get a paper clip and cut a bit of paper clip off. But it just sounds. The only time I've used magnets is putting fuel tanks on tornadoes.
Yeah.
But if you don't get everything lined up exactly straight and true, the dead wonky.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've done it many times where I've tried to do various things, and if that magnet isn't in the middle, if you're off to one side, it's always going to be pulling it because the part will want to go in the middle as well. So you've got to get everything properly lined up and going down the right way to get them to work, and that's obviously the way. I think personally, like Nathan does the paperclip trick, which is actually a really good one. What you could do is glue the paperclip to the inside framework of your canopy, so it's going up the inside because no one's going to see it, and it'll look like there's something in there anyway, and just drill 2 holes and then sit it down. So you've got 2 legs that just push that down and hold it in position. So if you are going to do a wall hanger with it, because obviously I've got the B17 hanging up there, if I did want, say, the top to be, that's probably how I would have done it, because it's permanent and it's in there, and I haven't got to worry about a magnet giving way or anything getting underneath. Because don't forget, the only thing you have with magnets as well, especially the earth magnets, they are great when they're touching, but as soon as you come away a little bit, that's it, you've lost it. So if something knocks it and for some reason it moves, it will fall off straight away. There's no long pull, because although earth magnets are great, it's not like a big magnet that will keep pulling for a long distance. They don't have to be far apart before there's no pull. And it's okay if you've got 2 magnets, but if you're doing metal to magnet, and again, depending on the metal you're using, they can be not as strong as perhaps you might be thinking they are, especially when you're talking like 1mm magnets and things. Because I've got tiny ones, I've got 0.5 magnets, and they're not very good. So I usually use 2 of them stuck together to give double the pull, and things like that. So yeah, it's an interesting idea, but again, I think you're overcomplicating it. It's one of those things. I think I'll be with the guys, literally. I don't think I use thread all the time. As long as you don't have to have it so it's literally like ding, 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 you can just pull it a tiny bit and it will still hold its own and it will sit there. There's no real pull on it because I can do this with it, so, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah. Imran says, thanks for adding the washers in the order. No problem, mate. That was me that did it.
Cool. No problem.
Matt was still on his way back from Floriland.
Still travelling.
Yeah.
Okay, Joshua says, hi guys, I bought the main display single blade nippers from the PM store. Great service, by the way, thank you. Do single blade nippers ever need sharpening?
No.
I've never sharpened mine. I've never sharpened that kind of blade before. Just such an investment of cash. I'd like to keep it in good condition as possible. Cheers, Josh.
It's too thin.
The best way of keeping them done is make sure you put the cover on them.
Yeah. The idea is that the metal doesn't actually touch, does it?
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't interfere with it. So it basically all you do is cutting through the plastic. Mm-hmm. As long as you're only cutting through normal plastic, don't cut through clear plastic because it's too hard.
Yes.
Cut through just normal plastic. You shouldn't need to resharpen them anyway.
But it is the thing, if you get a pair of magnifiers on and you hold it up to the light, you should see daylight all the way through. That tensioning screw thing here, which you get the little tool for adjusting, the whole point is that, and it is true because I'm looking through mine, I can see the monitor right the way through it. They go to almost touching but don't quite touch. And the thing is, I know the reason I broke my other ones, you might remember, I had a tooth literally out of mine, a big U shape in it. Turns out it wasn't probably the biting down onto anything too hard, but the way that broke, I was advised that probably I was pulling too hard on them and it's put pressure and all of that torque and strain pinged the blade. not cutting. It was something else, just because of the way it went. So it's like, fair enough. But I also keep the cover on, because otherwise you'd take the ends off.
Good quality single-bladed ones are quite precision engineered, aren't they? If you start trying to sharpen them and that, you're just going to mess it up, I would imagine.
Yeah, and if you did sharpen them and get them to the right, you'd have to then keep adjusting them to take that gap out again, wouldn't you? So,
yeah.
No,
I reckon these are God hands, which are basically the same thing. I think these are 4 years old now. And I reckon they're still as sharp as the day I bought them.
Yeah.
But like I said, always put your sheath on.
Yes.
Mine might be 2 years old because I broke my first pair and I've got a pinch your
But yeah,
back there.
I've been using these for pretty much my main nippers for good 4 years now, and they're still as sharp as the day I bought them.
Yes.
I think they're too thin to sharpen. The blade is so thin.
But I must admit, I have taken the tips off mine now.
Yeah.
Because they go to a very fine point, and I don't know how, but you look down, it's like, oh, it's missing a tip. So...
But they do. Is it 3mm maximum? Or it says on the box.
Yeah, and don't cut clear plastic because it's harder than styrene.
Well, if anyone's going to Japan in the next year or so,
bring back
let us know.
Yeah, we'll get some cash your way.
I mean, I used my Tamiya's to cut the part off, leaving quite a bit,
Yeah.
and then go in with my God hands
To tidy it.
up.
So if I've got a thicker screw, I'll use something else. But look after them, treat them with care. And
they are good. I must admit, I know obviously tolerances are different sometimes on Bandai kits, but you think, when I built the Millennium Falcon, the 72nd one, I used the display ones as well as the God hands ones for the smaller parts. Never did any cleanup. Never sanded it. Just cut, push it together. Because there's, that little bit of tolerance that gives you is in the tolerance for the kits with all those types of kits with Bandai kits. So, yes.
You'll enjoy using them.
Yes. Yeah. Once you've had a pair, you won't go back to double action ones, So, yes. Okay, Keith says, hey modelling gurus, I just wondered if there were any plans for the PM to stock plasticard. I seem to remember that a while back on one of your shows you were mentioning you hope to have them in soon. I know the world has been a bit upside down and out of what we've been happenings, plus the Suez blockage. Sounds like a pipe round here. Had several happenings at shipping globally. I was wondering if there's any chance of you guys would do a how-to for 1/35th scale figures, particularly World War II German troops, from start to finish, painting, assembling, fine detail, and even weathering, etc. Guess those got the Tamiya 88 flat gun will come in with a bunch of figures and a motorbike in his stash. Okay, plasticard. Me and Matt actually had a proper meeting. All right, it did involve cider, sat on the deck, but we did have a meeting and we did discuss obviously things we're going to do with PM models, the future of PM models, where we want to go with PM models, some of the lines we want to carry, and that question did come up. We did cover it. We have got some, haven't we, Andy? The Plastistrut ones.
It's in. I can't even think what company is it.
It is. It's Plastistrut. I've got some here.
Which I keep meaning to.
Again, what it is, we've got a display stand. It came from a company that went bust, and then we got it from one of the distributors. And it, some of it probably only got part numbers on it because it's literally in a. We don't know if that's the real part number for the right thing. It's a little bit confusing. But me and Matt did talk about it, and we did say we were going to do it. Now, if we do Plastistrut and just carry on with that one we've got, because we've got a supply for that as well, or we might go with Evergreen. But it is something we have said we want to do, because obviously we do a lot of tools now, various things. But it was on our discussed items that we would do and we will sort out. Again, it's one of those things, poor old Andy has to put all this on the system. And that is one of those things that goes on forever with all the different pieces they do, and we're not up on it ourselves. So what we'll do is we will look into the differences between Plastistrut, Evergreen, displays for them, because obviously we need to store them at the unit, and obviously posting them as well, which will be the biggest headache. And things like that. But it is something we did talk about. We have spoken about it. We did both agree that we were going to do it. It's just a case of watch this space.
I mean,
They're quite an awkward length, look,
yeah.
aren't they? They're a funny
Yeah.
shape.
I mean, people might have noticed that we've only just started recently selling paintbrushes.
Yeah.
Matt's had most of the paintbrushes since
we
before
started.
before
Yeah.
PM model. Well, before, wasn't it? Because he had them
Yeah.
in his old place.
Mm.
So it took that long to get them onto the site. So.
Yeah, I know. But, again, we did discuss it. We spoke about some different things we're going with and some different lines we're bringing in. And it did come up in the conversation, and we did say we would do it. But again, we have got some of the Plastistrut stuff, but also we've got good access to getting stocks in of the Evergreen, and we just don't know which sort of way to go. We will find out. Obviously, pricing comes into it and all those boring things, but we will sort it out, and it will come along soonish. So, yes. As for figure painting, we'll have to ask his lordship when he's here.
Yeah.
That's
He's
his
nudging
turf.
that way, isn't he?
Yes.
He's likely. I don't think he's going to put much of a fight up to do that.
No, I don't think it will be hard for him to do it, especially if he's got a cameraman.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
And an editor. I was doing my editing here, and he was saying to me, "You need a man to do that." I said, "No, some of us have to do our own editing here."
I mean, back on the plastic art stuff, we've started. It's in the team chat. Started to put a long list together of potential SIG ideas, and the Greebly SIG is on the list, isn't it?
Yeah.
From a show 2 weeks ago, saying let's do a scratch building SIG. I'm like, that's not a bad idea.
No, it's not a bad idea. I think that's a good one. I think that could be on when we have our meeting in a few weeks. We'll talk about that and discuss things. But I think that could be a good, interesting one to do. That,
Especially plastic cards and all that, you can go nuts with it, can't you?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of fun with plastic art.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, what we'll do is I'll have a word with Matt. Matt's not on tomorrow afternoon because I think he's house viewing, isn't he? So he won't be around for the actual afternoon show. But we will obviously speak to him and we will talk about doing figures. I know he's got plans coming up and stuff. Again, we spoke about all of this. So I don't think you have to twist his arm that far to get him to do that for you. So because obviously I won't do it. Otherwise they'll just look like something from The Walking Dead. One eye squinting, horrible colour. That'll be mine. So, okay, Frederick says, "Hi guys, a question is how the Fujimi 172nd Tomcat, I understand it's now quite an old model. I have a boxing of it and was wondering what to expect. Also, are Fujimi kits as thick and unpleasant, decals thick and unpleasant as the Tamiya ones? Anybody built one?
No, I haven't. 1988 that kit came out.
Yeah, only me then. Right, I've built one. Actually, to be honest with you, that kit was the kit. It was easily head and shoulders above everybody else's kit of a Tomcat in those days. By a country mile. Mind you, their Phantoms were legendary as well back in the day. In the 90s, that's where you would go with it. Nowadays, obviously, you've got really good competition now with all the other ones. We had one in the auction last night. The Great Wall Hobbies one is a beautiful kit. If I remember rightly, that one comes with an engine, though. It comes with a fully detailed engine. It's very much a detailed kit. So, if it's the one that I built a couple of them. I actually did them for the Nuremberg Toy Fair to go on display for a certain manufacturer. But yeah, it was the kit of the day in the 90s when I did them.
See, I'm looking through the box arts on Scalemates, and I'm convinced I've built the F-14A, Charlie Rogers.
Yeah.
But it would have been a long, long time ago.
I think it'll still be all right, though, won't it?
Yeah, I think, again, if you haven't got one, if it's in your stash, then I would have a look at it, and then you might think, well, look, to be honest, the decals, if it's old decals as well, they're going to be horrible. And to be honest, Fujimi's old decals, they are something of nothing. They're quite thick and a bit, sometimes even out of register, the early ones. So you might want to think about an extra set of decals, but that's going to cost you a tenner. So you might think, well, I'll give it a whirl and do it because there'll be nothing wrong with it. But let's face it, you've got Academy's one, which we've reviewed, got the reviews up there about it. That's a nice kit. The Great Wall Hobbies one is very nice. It's expensive, but it is very, very nice. And there is other options out. So I would say if you're thinking of buying one, then have a look at other options maybe. The Academy one, bang for bucks, very nice. But say Great Wall Hobbies one is really nice. But if you've got it, maybe just think about aftermarket decals.
Yeah, so Peters said that the Fujimi decals are not nice. A bit thick and inflexible. I got the fine. The Tomcat came. Fine molds did like the best one, and then almost a week later it got surpassed, didn't it?
Yeah.
So there's modern. There's more modern toolings now, but I reckon it'll build like a classic Hasegawa kit, so it'll be a nice build experience.
Yeah.
I reckon you'll be all right with it.
Like Graham says, he says about the Academy one is nicer detail for the price as well.
Yeah.
That's the point, isn't it? It's been surpassed, but.
There you go. Frederick said the Jolly Rogers one made him dream 20 years ago. Absolutely.
Yeah. I've got the fine
already. Get it built. It'll be grand. It's
the
not.
The fine mold one's got all the back, can't you? Where you can take off and you got all the piping and everything on down the back, down the spine and everything. But
yeah.
He's already got it in the stash, so I reckon it'll be
I would
nice.
say give it a whirl.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a set of aftermarket decals.
Yeah. Is it the one with the engine in? That's the one I want to know, because one of them came with an engine. I don't know if that was the D type or it was the A release they did of it, but one of them actually came with 2 engines, little dinky engines for it. So you didn't have to put them in either. You could have them out of the kit if you wanted to. And in those days, that was like unheard of. So.
Where's Frederick from? Because he said it's very hot.
Is he in Canada?
They're having big heat waves in Canada and parts of America, aren't they?
There's heat wave in Europe as well at the moment, though. It's getting a bit toasty.
He's in Finland.
Finland, crikey, right, fair enough. Is it not still not snowing there?
He's come out of his igloo, he's fine. So, he's currently got the heat wave. Wow.
There is a heat wave in sort of the Baltic.
Usual thing, don't forget, everything circles England. They have a heat wave or big snow in America, and everyone's like, oh, it's coming over to the UK. And it either goes above or below. And then there's a heat wave, and it's coming in, it's coming up from Africa, and it goes across, as you say, up over Finland and Norway, and goes up that way, and we miss it. It's like we've got this hole around us that just pushes everything out of the way. And we just get drizzle and rain and horrible. So, yes, he's Finland.
Cool.
Cool. Right. Okay. Okay. Last question is from Aid, and he says, "Hi, Phil and team. Earlier today, I was spraying a Tamiya XF86 mixed with self-leveling thingers as a top coat before weathering. You recently talked about getting a satin effect using the spray mix wetly." And this was what I was trying to achieve. I sprayed the upper surfaces, which are Mr. Hobby lacquers, with no problem, but the lower surfaces, which are Attacker lacquers, which have dried for the last 2 days, have began to dissolve to the primer coat. Could be seen. I've probably been a biff and got the mix wrong. But have actually created a nice weathering effect. There you go. But it's got me thinking, does spraying an acrylic top coat without using acrylic thinner does not defeat the object of a barrier coat, but is not pure acrylic? Yet again, I'm impressed by the bomb-proof quality of Mr. Hobby lacquers. And can't help wonder why PM doesn't sell them. Thanks. Well, look, we do in order. So the first thing is, it just sounds like maybe you have a little bit too much thinners and a little bit too wet on there. So if you're going for a satin coat, you don't want to go with it flooding on and making it wet so it sits and gives time to eat into the paint down below. You want it to be that nice balance of you're putting it on and it's just going on but drying relatively quickly. Even though it's using a slower drying thinners, it still dries pretty darn fast compared with everything else. So I think probably what it's done, it's sat on top and it is literally just eating into the below one. Probably just a little bit too much thinners, or it's a little bit too thick on top. That's all that will be. So yes, even if you have made a nice weathering effect with it and all the rest of it. So that's what probably it is. As for Mr. Hobby lacquers, Andy, over to you.
See, I really, really do like Mr. Hobby lacquers, and I sort of like tried to push Matt to them at the time. But the thing is like, it was acrylics we did Tamiya. So then he went with Vallejo Attacker lacquers, and then Mr. Hobby acrylics. In fact, it was the other way around, wasn't it? But it was like it's trying to sort of have the market so that we've got something of everything. Whereas you don't really want Mr. Hobby lacquers competing with attacker lacquers. When you've only got like a small range. Once we're sort of opening up into pretty much every single paint range going. It's easier to start to broaden it into have other things. So,
and also the thing is, when you've got, obviously we've got the Mr. Hobby range, which is technically not an acrylic because it's like a lacquer based one. It works like a lacquer based one. If you put lacquers in with it, it acts just like the lacquer.
Yeah.
So it was almost like the trouble is, if you go for the lacquer ones, we've now got two huge ranges which are identical.
Yeah.
And you can put lacquer thinners in the other one and they work the same way. So, yeah, it just seemed to be like, I'm not being funny, when you talk about the cost of having to bring in a paint set, you got thousands tied up doing the same thing. So we wanted to spread it a little bit wider. Does this mean that one day we might think, I'll tell you what, we'll bring the lacquers in? I don't know, maybe. But, at the moment, we were just trying to do this thing of like, okay, we've got an acrylic range, and obviously the Mr. Hobby range is a good one because it does all the colours. Then we wanted to do a lacquer range, so obviously we went with the attackers because that's a nice lacquer range. But now as time's moving on, we've got other lacquers. So we've got the Tamiya ones, and now we thought, well, we're going to have another hybrid one in there as well. So that's why we're going with the AKs. Next up, we'll be doing another acrylic range of paints coming in, so a full set of them. And it is that thing, how many paint ranges do you literally need? As Andy will testify, it takes up a lot of room as well.
A lot of room. I mean, we've just had a new paint range in of Vallejo.
It's the silvers. Where's my metal colour.
Yeah, Vallejo metal colour. We just had those in, which are now on the site.
Yeah.
And the stand is that big. I've got nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
Genuinely, a stand that big.
Yeah.
There's nowhere in the shop to put it. It's on the floor by the front desk at the moment.
Another factor that people don't realise is that many moons ago, in the distant past, there used to be things called model shows, and there used to be a right pain moving the paint backs, wasn't it? So if you've got tons.
Yes. This is it. Carting them things around is not a pleasant experience.
Yeah. Dennis is talking about Mr. Hobby does spray can with thousands. That stuff's fantastic, but we can't post it.
No.
We cannot post spray cans.
So then you're looking at usually around about 8 to 10 quid to post a can of paint. No one will go for it.
Yeah.
That's the trouble, isn't it? Bottom line is, we could do it. We could have a warehouse full of them, but no one's going to buy it when you have to cost you 10 quid to post it half a mile down the road, or courier it half a mile down the road.
Yeah.
So that's your problems with all of these things. But as you said, Andy will testify too, is that it's amazing how much PM's got stock-wise now. Our warehouse, which seemed so big all those moons ago when we first moved into it, is bursting at the gunnels, literally. So it's like we have to make a bit of a decision on what we're doing, how we're doing it, and everything else. So it would be great if we could stock everything, but obviously, one, it's got to sell. Secondly, it's got to fit in with our ranges of what we're doing as well. So yeah.
Yeah, you don't want ranges competing with each other.
Absolutely.
When we're sort of like...
Yeah, definitely. Plus that, try AK Extreme Metals.
Yeah.
AK Real Colour Series, available in every colour you could ever want. Oh. Must admit, I'm impressed. Sprayed it with this. Love it. As you'll see tomorrow in tomorrow's show, which leads us beautifully into... Tomorrow we'll be up. We've got a couple of announcements tomorrow as well, which you guys don't know below, but some of you might. If you live in Greece, definitely you'll know about it. We've got a new European distributor. They started as of today, which I didn't realise because they didn't tell me. But we'll discuss that and we'll get that up on the site as well tomorrow. Obviously, we will be moving all the group builds and the various things around, and I'll sort all of that probably at the weekend before, though, and everything. You'll get the next part of obviously this one up, which I can't remember what it is. Is it part 6 or 7? One or the other. Talks all about the paintwork and basically post shading. So I do all the post shading, weathering on this one, which I never don't do, but I thought I'd do it for a change on this one. On there, obviously you got this little lump as well. That'll be up with you for the review, and obviously no doubt probably be talking about that tomorrow as that one goes through. Quite an exciting project with that one. You guys up to anything at the weekend? Anything exciting?
Watching the Grand Prix.
Yes, true. Good point.
Yeah.
We've had it.
Is it going to be the same as last week?
Probably the one the week after is going to be a bit boring, but
Probably. It will rain. You wait. It won't be, but I'll get absolutely soaked.
you won't see anything. You'll be still queued outside waiting for your COVID.
I know. Do you know what? I've got my jab sorted for Saturday morning. I could have had it yesterday, but obviously we're doing the show, so I couldn't do it yesterday. So I'll be 14 days in, so I won't need to do, put stuff up my nose and all the rest of it.
Can you just show your thinking? All right, because I've seen something come through, them talking about doing testing. Everybody, but they hadn't decided.
No,
how
we've had the official thing came through yesterday, and because you double jab, you're fine. Otherwise, you just have to do a negative COVID test 48 hours before the event. And you have to use your track and trace on your phone to prove it and stuff like that. They're not testing everybody at the gate. They're not doing everyone at the gate. You'd have to wait 20 minutes for the result. Can you imagine it?
Well, exactly. I know,
Number 10, you're in.
Bad enough as it is normal, isn't it? So
yes, but no. But anyway, that's it. I won't be here that weekend. Friday and Monday I'm off because I'll be up there. Anyway, there we go. That'll do it for us tonight. Thank you very much for joining us as always. Absolute pleasure. Big thank you obviously to John.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. So you coming down tomorrow, John?
I am, yes.
Cool. John's going to pop down tomorrow. He's got some stuff to pick up. Got some stuff for you here that's been here since what? January 19? January 20. So that'll be good. And Nath, we will see you again very, very soon. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Andy, thank you as always. Been an absolute pleasure.
No problem. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, we'll see you tomorrow, definitely. All right then, guys. Thank you very much. We will leave it there. Hold on, leave me applause thing to get us out of here. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Which one is it? There we go. It'll be that one. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us this evening, guys. We will see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
We're out of here. Oh, there it is. Thank you.